is on. The final round of qualifying begins for the United States, Mexico, and 4 other nations from this region. Rodolfo Cibrian is the referee. It is an El Salvadoran officiating crew. Chris Armas on the immediate challenge of Chimo Ruiz. Armas whistled for the foul. There will be a lot of fouling tonight. Both of these teams will ask and give no quarter. Villa plays it back hard. Berto Macias. Mario Suarez, a fixture. This is Rafael Marquez. Carmona will push the right sideline, but it goes out there. This portion of the match is brought to you by Texaco.
Ernie Stewart playing on the left side of midfield for the United States. Kobe Jones on the right side. Ben Olsen was considered for one of those spots, but has an ankle problem.
Kobe Jones leaves it off for Claudio Reyna. The U.S. trying to be aggressive in the early minutes. Sane on the overlap right side. The long cross looking for McBride. Campos is there. Trying the quick counter. Palencia backing in. David Regi heads it forward for Stewart. This is Carmona. Marquez. Hard challenge on the tackle by Joe Max Moore. Pardo working with Carmona. Regi knocks it into the stands.
We saw that Mexico starting with 5 backs, but those wide backs will certainly creep into the attack. We saw Carmona there on the right side already moving into the midfield.
Hernandez tries the heel pass. Jones. Marquez heads it forward. Hernandez offside. The flag was up. When is Mexico going to try to strike, Ty?
Mexico will be very patient in their approach here. They know the United States looking for 3 points at home will send players forward in the attack. So Mexico starting off with 5 backs, 3 midfielders, only 2 men up front will drop back into their own end, and they would like to strike on a quick counter.
Brad Friedel, a long ride for Brian McBride. Macias is over the top. The U.S. has a free kick from about 33 yards.
Well, we already saw a moment ago on the cross from the right side by Tony Sena that Brian McBride is the target. He's the player that will work at the back post for the United States. But how quick was Campos off of his line to snag that last cross?
This is one situation in which you do not want to be in a wall. Not that it's ever desirable, but with the temperature in the 20s, that ball is a rock right now. Reyna, Joe Max Moore, Jeff Agus over the ball for the U.S. Moore chipping, far post, looking for Eddie Pope. It goes out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick to Mexico. Let's send it downstairs to Rob Stone, our on-field reporter. Rob.
Guys, the last hour and a half, the hand on this thermostat has been moving about as fast as the second hand on my watch. It's dropped about 10 degrees in the last hour and a half. How's the Mexican team dealt with it? Number 1, they didn't come out for warm-ups. Number 2, they've been receiving vitamin supplements by their managers. And third, just before kickoff, they had a mental visualization session in their locker room to try and focus out the cold. I'll tell you what, guys, you don't need to be Cleo, the late-night psychic, to realize the cold has already gotten into their heads.
If there's a vitamin that works for cold, it's got to be made of uranium. Foul against the U.S. Mexico gets the restart.
Well, Acapulco is Jorge Campos' hometown, and maybe they were trying to envision themselves on the sandy beaches there.
Not gonna work. Luna, Hernandez, Chimo Ruiz. Palencia showing that Pope is on him. Kobe Jones short for Pope, now forward for Joe Max Moore. It comes out over the sideline. Ty, what are the keys to the game?
Well, for the United States, it's imperative that they establish some possession. That will nullify that counterattack of Mexico that is so dangerous. And if the U.S. could pressure in Mexico's end of the field, they also need to take advantage of set plays. The height of Brian McBride, the ability of Tony Sane to come forward. Also, you see how tall number 22 is for the United States. That could be an impact as well, but also defensively not to be victimized. Mexico excels on the free kick situations and corner kick situations.
Hernandez trying the flick-on header. Sane colliding with Armas. Palencia down with it. Leaves it off for Luna, who will try to push the left side. It comes out off of Sane, and here is Mexico with a corner kick opportunity against Bruce Arena's team. Bruce Arena back on the U.S. bench, having served his 2-game suspension, which was truncated. It originally was a 3-game suspension following his protests after the Costa Rica loss last summer.
He would have missed this game had they stuck to the 3-game suspension.
This portion of the match brought to you by Budweiser. Abel Pardo on the corner kick for Mexico. The U.S. has specific man-marking assignments on corners. Pardo to the short post, and Agus heads it about 12 rows high. Palencia's flick-on header. Palencia across the 6-yard box. Reggie chases it down. He lets it roll out. Agus. He'll feed many good balls out of the back. This for Kobe Jones. Well played push by Suarez. He knows every trick in the book, playing in his 152nd game, or picking up his 152nd cap for Mexico. Kobe Jones brings it back. This is Reggie. Armas. Agus. Oh. Here's the possession for the U.S. Sane challenging Luna. Sane running over Villa. Sane called for the foul. Hernandez offside on the free kick. Luis Hernandez always will push the limit. He is one of the most called players for offside in whatever league he's in or in international play.
It's his job to be a predator, and the fact is, if he gets caught 15 times, doesn't matter. If he gets through once or twice, he'll make it count.
Friedel, a fine distributor out of the back. Drives another 70-yarder. McBride going up. Macias playing it well for Mexico. Sane, first touch pass. It goes over the sideline. The Mexico coach, Enrique Mesa, at least for the moment. Great instability in the head coaching position for Mexico. A tremendous amount of pressure on whoever holds that job. Luna gives it away to Agus. It pops up on him. Luna heads it for Palencia. Stewart flicks toward McBride. The U.S. not able to settle things down yet. Ty, the field is no excuse. It's in tremendous shape considering it's February 28th. Kobe Jones run over. Marquez marking him. This will be a throw-in for the U.S. and Jones pleads his case to no avail.
Well, Kobe Jones here racing down that left sideline and whacked at from behind.
Reggie into the middle, but Campos is there. Campos shoving off against Ernie Stewart and going down. Joe Max Moore having a word with Cibrian. And there you see Campos. Marquez looking for Palencia. Here's Hernandez at the heel flick. Palencia ruled offside. Mexico will counter. They'll play long. They'll push the limit on offside. And if they get away with it once, they're all heroes.
Paco Palencia wasn't sure whether he would start or not. I read Borghetti was maybe going to start. All over the top. He looked pretty even, and that ball's off a defender.
I think Hernandez might have played that ball through. Joe Max Moore trying to penetrate the 18. Great tackle by Macias. And Villa clears it out. This Mexican back 4 or back 5, depending on their formation, is rock solid. Agus. Reggie. Looking for McBride against Macias. Stewart. Against Luna. Looking for Joe Max Moore. Suarez heading it out.
The Emperor. Claudio Suarez. Kobe Jones over on the left side. Ernie Stewart here on the right. Switch since the start of the match already.
Ball out of bounds off the U.S. Chima Ruiz. Agus bumping Palencia from behind. Agus whistled for the foul. course, this isn't the only game going on today in this final group of qualifying in CONCACAF, which covers North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. Jamaica over Trinidad and Tobago. That is a final 1-0 today. And Honduras and Costa Rica are playing right now, and that is 0-0. The U.S. will play all 5 of these nations, once on American soil, once away, a total of 10 games. Of the 6 teams in the group, 3 will advance to Japan, Korea 2002. This portion of the match is brought to you by Chevrolet. Down goes Hernandez after contact from Agus, no call. Joe Max Moore draws the ball back. Square to Stewart. Sane. Pope. Regis. Armas. Regis outside of the foot. Suarez controlling the back line. Villa now. Carmona trying to turn on Jones. Armas can't save it inbounds. Let's send it down to Rob Stone.
Guys, Brian McBride just came running over to the sideline. He's doing it right now. He took some nasty shot to his right eye. It literally looks like it's a boxing fight. His right eye is swollen shut. He just said right now he cannot see out of his right eye. His eye looks like a golf ball right now. Josh Wolf is warming up. They're icing it down right now. I'm not sure how much longer Brian McBride can go there.
Rob, thank you. That looks like the scene out of Rocky. That is absolutely unbelievable. McBride has spent his career in difficult challenges. He's had both cheekbones broken. Obviously, he doesn't shy away from stuff like that. Amazing that that should happen only in the 10th or 11th minute as we now play in the 12th, because Brian McBride has had the worst luck in the world at being able to play national team games here in his home stadium. Hernandez. This is Carmona on a long overlap. Working against Agus. Agus giving him no room. It's a goal kick. That's fine defensive play by Jeff Agus as the U.S. plays 10 on 11 with McBride still swollen up.
McBride has been absolutely jinxed in terms of injuries. Look at the look on Brian McBride's face. He cannot believe it.
Oh my goodness.
There's no way he'll be able to see out that eye, much less take the risk of further injury.
Macias. That is a huge break for Mexico. McBride is the X factor in CONCACAF play for the United States. He is an uncoverable forward when the U.S. plays a good ball in the air to him. But Macias and Suarez, tough, tall, physical players. And McBride has taken off his gloves, and he is having a seat, and it looks as if he's going to come out of this game.
Tremendously bad break, personally for Brian McBride, but also for the chance of the U.S. team. Now, Mexico already playing without Cuauhtemoc Blanco because of injury, without Ramon Ramirez because he's involved in a car accident a few weeks ago, and Manuel Abundis, another great attacking player for Mexico, not available because of injury.
Regis spraying one over the sideline, looking forward for Stewart. The U.S. not looking sharp with possession, which was one of your keys to the game, Ty.
Well, Mexico will make it difficult because right now they are laying back in numbers, trying to close down those passing lanes.
Macias going crossfield. Regis in front of Hernandez, but doesn't play it cleanly and gives it away. Hernandez into the middle for Palencia. Pope right on his back. Has to play it back. Hernandez taking on Regis. Regis gets a piece of the ball, but too much of Hernandez, and Hernandez goes down. It's a trip against the U.S.
El Matador, Luis Hernandez, taking a whack there, but that won't slow him up. Incredibly durable forward. The guy puts himself in harm's way constantly and bounces right back up to score important goals for Mexico. Luis Hernandez.
Josh Wolf is going to be coming into the game for McBride. McBride obviously has exited already. Josh Wolf, a tremendously fast and exciting forward.
Have another look at Brian McBride's injury. This horrendous bad break, bad luck for Brian McBride. Contact with the back of Macias's head, and there was no intent. There was not a dirty play whatsoever. Just Wrong place at the wrong time again for Brian McBride.
Opportunity for Mexico. Agus heads it on. Flip back into the 6-yard box. Reina gets a piece of it and it goes out of bounds. It'll be a corner for Mexico. This is just the situation that the United States must protect against.
A crucial defensive play by Claudio Reina after Claudio Suarez does a wonderful job here to put the ball all the way over to that other post again. And if Reina's not there, it's a goal for Mexico.
In swinger, Agus volleys it clear. On these corner kicks, one of the key marking assignments belongs to Brian McBride because of his excellence in the air. They are giving up an awful lot by having to put Wolf in the game. And you have to wonder if the United States immediately has to adjust its marking assignments because there's no way that Wolf is going to be able to take on Suarez.
The United States definitely becomes more susceptible on corner kicks and free kick situations without McBride back there to mark up tightly with Macias.
Rob Stone has more. Rob?
Well, Jack, just to layer on that comment you just made, that was the main point Bruce Arena made to Josh Wolf. He said, you've got to tell Jeff Agus to find a man to mark Suarez, because as you said, that was McBride's mark on corner kicks and set pieces.
It's a chess game. Reggie quickly forward for Wolf. He's got rocketing speed. Trying to work on Marquez. Marquez blocks it out, but it's a corner. And right away, Wolf's speed pays dividends.
Josh Wolf was a star, a revelation for the United States at the Olympic Games in Australia this past September. Caught a lot of people's eyes with his getaway speed and his ability to score important goals.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Nike. We're in the final 6 teams of this region. The top 3 will go to World Cup 2002. Joe Max Moore's corner. Luna heads it out. Agus back to Moore. Into the box, looking for Reggie. Chima Ruiz heads it out. Jones chest traps it down. The half volley. Villa back for Campos. Campos very flamboyant.
Also very adept with his feet. In fact, one of the better forwards at times a few years back in the Mexican League when he would take off the goalkeeping jersey and the gloves and go into the attack for his team.
He had a 30-goal season in the Mexican League.
Versatility, the Mexican goalkeeper Campos, and many of his goals were of the flamboyant variety as well.
Hernandez on the sideline. Agus marking him tightly. Carmona trying to come through with it. This is Palencia. Chips middle. Hope was there. Villa. Sane pops it up. Friedel grabs it in the 6. Friedel can fire the ball about 60 yards on a throw. He comes short for Reina. Outside of the foot. Perfect pass for Jones. Macias, a pop-up header. Marquez settles. Villa cracked hard by Reina. Clean tackle. Marquez, a little chip pass. Pope. Indecisive play by both teams in the center circle. A lot of players looking uncomfortable. Palencia and I believe also Hernandez also offside. A program reminder, the United States plays Brazil Saturday at the Rose Bowl, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific on ABC Sports. It's a full international.
It doesn't get any more entertaining or artistic than watching the Brazilians play.
Joe Max Moore. Turning against Villa now, beating Luna. Moore across the middle, the tip on. Goes out of bounds. Josh Wolf almost connecting Joe Max Moore. What a terrific move and a very precise cross.
The individual effort by Joe Max Moore right here. The double touch. He splits 2 defenders, gets his head up, drives a near post cross. Josh Wolf there probably should have gotten more on it, but Josh Wolf did not expect to be in this game. Certainly not this early in this first half.
Another 1 or 2 of those. The U.S. can pot him. We're only in the 20th minute. Agus' corner. Jones. Off Carmona. Here comes the counter. Carmona. 4 on 2. But the U.S. is back in numbers now. Pardo with his first touch of the game. Hope winning the ball away. Now an American counter. Joe Max Moore. Wolf pushing the limits on the other side of the field. Reyna slows things down. Ernie Stewart beats Carmona. Campos. Luna. He has Villa square. Goes up the line for Palencia. Hope the defender. Luna turns against Reyna. Villa. Carmona is there on the far side. Regis plays the angle with Stewart. This portion of the match is brought to you by Hershey's Syrup. Aegis. Wolf challenging Marquez. Suarez wins the ball. No shots on goal. Opportunities for both teams. Dangerous situations. And if you're just joining us, Brian McBride having to leave the game in the first 15 minutes with a badly swollen eye after an accidental collision with a Mexican defender. And there you see it. Just a grotesquely swollen eyelid, and McBride unable to see.
Well, if you talk to some of the guys that have competed against Brian McBride in Major League Soccer, they keep saying that he doesn't get his arms up enough when he goes up for headers to protect himself. He's probably too fair. Guys like John Doyle, played in MLS for 5 years against Brian McBride, always goes up with his arms. He's clocked Brian McBride a few times. He said, Brian, just get your arms up to protect yourself. Could have made a difference in that situation. We've seen it twice on the replay there. And McBride doesn't really lead with the forearm, as maybe you should, when these balls are being so hotly contested for.
Pavel Pardo on the serve on the restart. Hernandez heads it down. Reyna the only man there. Claudio Reyna the captain. Suarez. Macias. Chima Ruiz, who is forcing forward. Armas tracking back. Pardo wins it for Carmona. Hernandez out wide. One time for Carmona. Stewart the defender. Hernandez. Aegis steps up against Palencia. Gets fouled. Palencia, a brilliantly talented player. And Aegis has had an enormously successful career. Over 100 appearances for his national team. Ernie Stewart. David Regis looking for Wolf. Down on his knees to make the chest pass. Marquez and Suarez again back. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. This is the final group of World Cup qualifying. Mexico against the United States. This match presented by Chevrolet. Rodolfo Cibrian, the referee, ruling against the U.S. A very vocal crowd here in Columbus, Ohio. Temperature in the low 20s.
Some very spirited play at midfield. Reyna has won balls at midfield. Chris Armas, as always, has stepped in front. Aegis has been very aggressive coming to back. Called for a foul right there.
Chima Ruiz, stolen by Reyna. Joe Max Moore, Kobe Jones. Again, Suarez, excellent play from behind, taking it away from Jones. Villa. Pardo. Hernandez lets it run for Palencia, looking back, and there's Eddie Pope. Eddie Pope playing quite well in the early going here.
Good sign also. Joe Max Moore has looked very sharp and confident on the dribble, taking on Mexican defenders.
Villa for Hernandez. Aegis is there. Pope was marking Hernandez. The United States back line looking much more stable. Regis turning and firing forward. Wolf square. Reyna. Joe Max Moore. The passing combination fails as Villa takes it away from Mexico. Pardo. Carmona. Palencia running diagonally. Aegis marking here. Aegis again giving him no room. The push against Palencia. Pretty good matchup between those two.
Well, we've seen the injury to Brian McBride's eye, or just above his right eye. Palencia received an injury about 2 weeks ago in the Mexican League, where he had about 40 stitches on the outside of his jaw and also another 40 stitches inside the jaw, inside of his mouth. So he's felt that needle going through there, and I'm sure Brian McBride might later this evening.
Jones can't track it down on the near side. These two teams, bitter rivals. The series history, the United States has won only 7 times out of 43. And since 1990, it's been a bit more even. But in World Cup qualifying, the United States is 2 wins, 12 losses, 5 ties. And that, of course, is when you really see the full national squads with no exceptions. That every player who needs to be called in for his country is being called in. Such is the case tonight, and such will be the case throughout 2001 in this last effort to try to make the 2002 World Cup field of 32 nations. Marquez. Valencia. Reyna steals. Carmona chips it up. Villa wide for Marquez. Better possession from Mexico than the U.S. so far, Ty?
Certainly since the Brian McBride injury, I think it rattled the U.S. team psychologically.
This portion of the match is being brought to you by Allstate. Another foul against the U.S. and another restart for Mexico. Crowd rather quiet here in Columbus. People came prepared, all bundled up, ready to yell. There was a great vibration in the stadium before this game began, and it continued in the first few minutes. The crowd right now looking for something to cheer for. Fans a little bit subdued right now. Pope punching it forward. Suarez against Moore. Reyna comes through and takes it out of traffic. Regis looking for Wolf. He's offside. The flag went up very late, but he was off. Josh Wolf, another front runner. He said, okay, he's always going to force that limit. Much in the same way that we were explaining earlier about Hernandez. Villa. Ramona. Regis breaks it up. Suarez juggles it off the thigh and then flicks for Marquez.
Good skill from the big man.
Pope. Villa knocks it down for Valencia. Luna is offside. Well, it's pretty clear that both back lines are going to try to force toward midfield, and the forwards are going to try to get something through. They're really going to push that limit.
Close one here, and a good argument, because right here Tony Sane does keep Luna onside as the ball was played. So the incorrect call there by the far side referee's assistant.
And there is Luna. Hernandez had the best view of it, and he was the one who was protesting most vociferously, and he was absolutely right. So the U.S. catches a big break here.
Mexico now called offside 5 times in this match, and only 4 of them were truly offside.
Villa. Chima Ruiz. Jones stolen here. This is Macias taking it away from Joe Max Moore. He sidesteps Sane. Finds Luna, but there's Eddie Pope. Eddie Pope playing to top form so far in the first half hour of this match.
He's been forced to. The quickness of the Mexican counterattack with Palencia and Hernandez lurking in and around him. Those quick little touches.
Campos. Macias. Stewart chasing. Looking for Ruiz. Sane tracks it back. Sane in the short sleeves, by the way. He plays in the German league, and it gets darn cold there. Aegis tries a 50-yarder. Wolf stumbled. Some of the turf coming up. Regis winning it back for Aegis. Moore coming through. Knocks it down for Regis. Armas. A little giveaway here. Palencia. Hernandez touches it. Sane trying to turn it away. And Friedel comes up with it. Sane grabs his left ankle.
It shows you how dangerous Mexico can be. A very quick steal out of midfield. Immediately they have green shirts rushing forward, and watch this whack by the right leg of Luis Hernandez. He cheap shot at Tony Sané, and he's a constant pest. Not only will he stick the ball into the net, he just makes life miserable for the opposing defenders. And he'll slow him up using unfair play, whacking Tony Sané's right ankle here. He knew he had no chance for the ball there. Brad Friedel already had it in his hands.
Luna, in sportsmanlike fashion, throws the ball out of bounds. It'll be a U.S. goal kick. These players are playing for their nations. And where there is room to get away with something, players will take full advantage of that. This portion of the match is brought to you by Texaco. Luna coming back to the ball. He sprays it out of bounds. Let's go downstairs to Rob Stone.
Well, guys, Brian McBride out. Claudio Reyna may be following him. He just came over to the sideline and pointed to his left groin, telling him it's really tight. Bruce Arena yelled at the training staff, let him play through it. But Clint Mathis has been warming up and already taped up his shin guards, and he would be the man who would have to replace Reyna. Rafael
Marquez going forward. Now wide for Palencia. Steps on the ball. Agus, this is dangerous play against Palencia. You can't play the ball while you're on the ground. And Agus made sure that he got the call because he stepped in and immediately tried to play the ball.
It's dangerous play if an opponent is nearby. You can play the ball on the ground if no one's around, because many great goals are scored like that as players slide through, laying on the ground and so forth. Agus here trying to that crossfield pass, which may open up the Mexican defense. Early in the game, the ball was going side to side, and Reyna was a big part of that. He was getting a lot of passes, a lot of balls were played into Reyna and then switched to the other side. But Reyna has not been as involved, and perhaps it is because he's feeling that injury that Rob Stone just mentioned.
Valencia, there's Reyna stepping in via Suarez Macias. He has been tremendously effective. Luna, nice ball outside. This is Ruiz. Hernandez running toward the corner. Hernandez sells the dummy. Armas tracking back alertly, because if he hadn't, Luna's in alone. Long ball for Josh Wolf. Suarez there. Macias turns and volleys it to get it out of trouble. Reyna. Square for Jones. Reyna reaching for his left groin. He says he's done. He's waving his arm as if he says he's got nothing left. You only get 3 substitutions in international soccer, and if the U.S. has to use 2 because of injury in the first 33 minutes of the match, it virtually cripples Bruce Arena's ability to make strategic changes. He's making changes out of necessity. You got to hold that third one in case somebody else goes down. Otherwise, you have to play with 10.
Look at the quality of players that he's having to give up. Those are the 2 guys we featured as the key elements to the U.S. success tonight. Brian McBride and Claudio Reyna.
Luna against Sané. This is turning into a rugged one-on-one battle. Ruiz against Kobe Jones. Jones gets an arm out. Sané and Luna in a race. Jones protesting, and the call's going to go against Jones. The Mexicans protested Rodolfo Cibrian's selection as referee for this match, but the U.S. is getting the worst of it here.
Well, we'll see here. That goes both ways. There's a little forearm, another shove into Jones's face. So the first 2 fouls were not called. Perhaps then Kobe Jones stepped in, but he lost out in the total foul category there, and the call went against him.
The reason for the Mexican protest, Cibrian had refereed the U.S.-Colombia game earlier this month. Reyna heads it out. Palencia's volley. Pope gets a foot on it to clear to midfield. This portion of the match is brought to you by Budweiser. Here's Campos well out of the penalty area.
Likes to showboat.
It has cost him in the past. Usually a bit more conservative in international games. Pope gives up the corner, with Chima Ruiz pressuring.
Eddie Pope, good positioning again to cut out this Mexican attack. Not able to keep it in.
Pardo to take the corner. A tense moment for the United States. Agus clears. too hard over the sideline.
What has been evident here in the last 15 minutes or so, Jack, is the speed of play collectively that Mexico is able to exert, how fast the ball moves, and how many options. You see green shirts appearing very quickly in support of the ball. The United States not quite as quick in support and have not been able to work the ball around as quickly and establish that possession.
Here's Wolf with a little bit of a break. A through ball looking for Ernie Stewart. Stewart running onto it, but again, Campos so alert, well off his line. Reyna is down in midfield. A yellow card. I believe it is against Villa. However, Marquez is walking away. So it is Marquez.
Rafael Marquez, who plays in France, coming in with a very high right leg to catch Josh Wolf after he'd made the pass. Good call by the referees, right on top of it. He allowed his eye to linger after the play. Sometimes the referees will follow the ball and miss that late high leg coming through that Marquez used on Josh Wolf.
36th minute, the yellow card. If you're wondering, there are no caution points that carry over from the previous round. Kobe Jones backing in the box. 1-on-3. Villa clears it out. Sane cuts off Palencia. Agus retrieves, sends it back for Friedel. Hernandez chasing the keeper. Jones on the challenge against Ruiz. Joe Max Moore giving it up for Villa. Jones hustling after the challenge. Bruce Arena wanted the U.S. to be aggressive, to pressure the ball, and to communicate well. How many of those three is he getting from his players?
Well, initially, first 7 or 8 minutes, he certainly had the pressure going, and there was a rhythm of possession starting through Claudio Reyna. The Brian McBride injury, I think, unbalanced the U.S. team psychologically. Mexico seized that opportunity, and from that point on, dictated the tempo of the game and have looked dangerous on counterattacks.
McBride on the bench. This portion of the match is brought to you by Jolly Rancher.
That's got to hurt. The size and swelling over Brian McBride's right eye.
Palencia taken down from behind. Sane and Armas in the mix. The Mexicans demanding a yellow card from Cibrian, not getting it. Marquez, Carmona. Marquez moving through on the right side. Wolf is down holding his face. He's rolling around, driving. Play continues. Sane belts the ball forward into the Mexico half of the field. Wolf is back on his feet on the far side.
Well, no one said this would necessarily be a pretty game. It's going to be hotly contested. And both teams trying to intimidate not only each other, but intimidate the official into getting the calls. If you look at the top of the screen, Josh Wolf throwing his arm out. He goes down here after taking the forearm.
Bitter rivals, the U.S. and Mexico.
Mr. Cibrian could have a tiger by the tail here. Giving out one yellow card. We'll have to give out a few more soon.
U.S. coach Bruce Arena told us last night the Mexicans, he thought, would be delighted to go into halftime 0-0. They're only about 6 minutes away from that right now. Hernandez. Luna turning. 30 yards from goal. Danger here, the shot. An easy save for Friedel.
Luna did not get much on that one, but he does have a vicious left-footed shot. He can bend him very well on the free kicks, too.
This portion of the match brought to you by Chevrolet. An 8-yarder from Friedel, but Marquez is on it to Carmona. Reggie challenging forward aggressively. Looking for Wolf. Can't recover. Carmona cutting him off. This is Campos. Carmona. Wolf pressures him. Carmona goes down, and here comes the card on Josh Wolf. th minute.
Cibrian was itching to give a second yellow to even things up. Josh Wolf gave him the opportunity. Carmona will be fined. And it may have been a foul against Josh Wolf, but you knew the card would come here. The ball tangled up.
He didn't even make contact with his shins.
Not much in it. Not much in it. But in desperation, a referee looking for an excuse to even things up on the yellow card count.
Josh Wolf and Jorge Campos both have played for the Chicago Fire. Campos, the goalie, in orange. And you could read Wolf's lips. It was an 8-letter word that means there wasn't much substance to that call.
No, Carmona made a meal out of it.
It's part of international soccer. It's part of the game. If you can sell the call, so much the better. So Wolf is on notice, and should he pick up another yellow card, the U.S. has to play 10 on 11, down a man the rest of the match. Suarez, the Emperor. Macias playing just his 4th international game for Mexico, but I've been impressed with this lanky back. Let's send it downstairs to Rob Stone. Rob, what do you got?
Guys, about the last 10 minutes, the U.S. bench has been trying to get in contact with Claudio Reyna and doing the old international signal, wheel in your hand, saying, are you all right? You're going to come out? Claudio finally gave him the X and said, I'm done, I'm out. So they're trying to get Clint Mathis in, and here comes Clint right now to drop off the card. So Mathis coming in, Claudio Reyna, the captain, out.
This is a remarkable turn of events for the United States. Wolf having to go in. Now Mathis having to go in. Another call goes against the U.S. Kobe Jones slamming the ball down. Cibrian admonishing him. Mexico with the throw-in. Valencia getting good air over Jones to win the ball. Pardo gives it away to Wolf. Too far forward for Joe Max Moore. Moore and Wolf haven't played too much as a tandem up front. Tough time to have to break in a combination. Reyna. Jones has Moore on the far side. Jones to Wolf, one-time pass. Luna back in perfect position. Macias. Armas knocks it out of bounds. The captain's armband goes to Chris Armas. Clint Mathis comes in for Claudio Reyna. It has been a rough night physically for the U.S. Clint Mathis coming in for the injured captain, and McBride already out for Josh Wolf.
McBride with the swelling over his right eye.
Here comes Wolf on the right wing. Hammers the low cross. It's behind Moore. Armas chasing forward. Chima Ruiz. Armas sliding hard to win the ball, but it comes off to Luna. Tries the cross. Agus steps up nicely. The pop-up. Joe Max Moore competing for the ball. Villa. Marquez. Marquez getting it back from Pardo. Armas looking for Wolf. Ruiz in the air for Luna. Jones on the challenge. Luna pops it up. Ruiz, a sky ball. Armas getting position to win it. But it comes to Marquez. Just blasted forward, looking up. Spring pass for Hernandez. Hope for Sane. Chima Ruiz. This is a long ball for Hernandez. Agus back to Friedel. Luna trying to spring Hernandez on the long diagonal. Friedel, a 70-yarder, looking for Joe Max Moore, but Marquez is there. The U.S. having great difficulty penetrating the back 5 of Mexico, led by the Emperor, Claudio Suarez, that man, number 2. This is Marquez. Valencia looking for Hernandez, but it comes out of bounds off a U.S. player. Carmona, the throw-in. Valencia against Agus. Valencia turning Agus. Valencia for Hernandez. Pope clearing it out. Mexican throw-in. Eddie Pope has been the man of the match so far for Bruce Arena's crew. U.S. really having trouble. Hernandez getting cheered by the fans as he misplays the ball out of bounds. Agus also playing very solidly defensively. In just a few minutes, Rob Stone will have the All-State halftime report, the mayor of Columbus, the qualifying schedule, and Ty Keogh's first half analysis. There will be just 1 minute of stoppage time. A bit of a surprise considering the considerable stoppages there were in this first half. Clint Mathis trying to spring Joe Maxmore. It doesn't work. Carmona. Agus has it. Armas. Carmona. Off the shoulder. Misplayed Joe Maxmore. Then Marquez recovers. Pardo. Carmona. Valencia. Agus challenging. It's out of bounds off Valencia. The U.S. has a throw in. Mere seconds left here in stoppage time of the first half. Suarez pushing forward. Valencia. Armas takes it back for the U.S. Wolf. Jones against Macias. Macias forcing him back outside. Armas. Hernandez steals. Pardo has Valencia. Goes against the grain for Hernandez. Sane back for Friedel. The first half is over. Luis Arena said he thought that Mexico would be delighted to go to the break 0-0, thanks in part to that gigantic bruise over the right eye of Brian McBride, forcing Josh Wolf's entry. It is a 0-0 game. The All-State halftime report is coming up. This is the first of 10 tough games for the U.S., the final round of World Cup qualifying, trying to get to 2002.